welcome to another episode of World Bigfoot Radio. You're hearing the voice of the Duke, which of course means you're listening to World Bigfoot Radio, and you're going to be hearing another familiar voice here momentarily. We have a returning guest from previous episodes who his whole situation with Bigfoot started in the LBL not all that long ago, and he was on Sasquatch Chronicles, and he's been on my show a couple times. And the last time we were talking, I think the episode was called Careful What You Wish For. And we're going to sort of do a part 2 to that one, I guess, or a part 3, however you want to look at it. Because he's going to give us an update on what's been happening since then. At the time that we talked last time, there were actually pending legal issues which precluded us talking about certain things, which are now over. So we will be talking about them. And he's going to be sharing a little bit more about what he's found by actually finally being able to get up and close to these things without being, like accidentally thrown to the 30 foot up into a tree or stepped on or something. So without further ado, welcome back, Taylor. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, Duke. It's nice to be back. It's an honor to be back on your show again. You don't know how much. I've been listening to a lot of stuff you've been doing. You're one of the best out there. It's a pleasure to talk to you again, and it's a pleasure to talk to you all the time I talk to you. You're such an informative and very intelligent person.
Oh,
intimidating
thanks, man.
Sometimes.
I appreciate it. I don't know how I'm intimidating. I'm like thousands of miles away on a phone, nothing to worry about. I can't send any spooks over the phone line to get you. You're fine. My army is near here. They cannot march that far. It is too many days, rations. Anyway.
Hey, Napoleon made it to Russia, so anything's possible.
Yeah, never put it out of the range of possibility for. Anyway, well, the last time we were talking to you, you were telling us about how there was a neighbor lady over there that you had talked to, and she had told you that she had a troop, a little family unit of these things that were living near her house. And she had them there for a long, long time. And, in fact, one of them had been just like a little toddler at the time that they started interacting with them and, had grown up interacting with her and her husband, who's now deceased, and is still interacting with them more or less to this day. And, some of the weird experiences he had surrounding that. So you want to pick it up there?
Yeah. The lady, she comes, got a restaurant and work at it and stuff like that, and she'd been coming in there and stuff like that, and I was wearing a Bigfoot shirt one day that a friend of mine got me, and she goes, "You believe in them?" And I kind of gave her that stupid ass line, "I'm not a believer, I'm a knower," like I knew something. I don't know nothing about them. Nobody does. But anyway, she started in to regale me with this story of how her and her husband bought this property 20 years ago, and they weren't habituating them. It's not like they was taking them food or nothing like that. They would just be out doing their thing, and they would get this weird feeling and start seeing them, and then that group started getting closer to them. There was a female that's now passed away. They called her Dolly, and Dolly had a baby, and his name was Scooter. And Scooter would actually come up real close to him to where they could touch him and stuff like that. And they did feed him apples and stuff like that. But anyway, now he's probably about 18 years old. I bet he's 9.5 foot tall. And he's probably the most social out of all of them that will get close to you. But, no, her and her husband, she started telling me all these stories. One time the female picked her husband up, and he defecated all over himself. He was just saying, he was hoeing something. I guess the garden was, I know where the garden is. The garden was maybe 5 feet from the wood line, and he had his back there, and all of a sudden he's up in something's arms, and it's looking down at him with this look of love. It sounds weird. She didn't see this. This is what he told her while he was changing his shorts and saying, "Just get me a rag and hush." But
well, he's lucky Dolly liked him, because she sure had to drop on him.
She did, and she was a big female. From what I understand, she was like 8'7" or something like that, because they marked a spot on the tree where she stood at, and it's up there, and that mark's still there. But she picked him up and cradled him like a baby in her arms for a second, and the guy was so scared because he'd seen him and they'd come up and they'd interacted with Scooter at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But there had been no physical contact, and I guess I hate telling this stuff because it sounds crazy. But anyway, he picked him up and he crapped his pants, and there wasn't a witness to it, but I'll tell you what, the old woman said they had to throw his underwear away, his pants away, and so, you know, she's a witness of that part of it. But needless to say, they've been pretty close to this troop, and not all of them in the troop's nice at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, I'm a firm believer in this here because of what's been going on with me. Some that do want to kind of interact with us, that do, to a certain degree, want to bridge that gap between us and them. There's some that's not having it, that wants you dead. There's this white one. I believe if Scooter didn't keep him at bay, because I think Scooter's next in line to be the alpha male. If he didn't keep him at bay, this white one would have killed me. I seen him bite a tree. He was so mad. He was thrashing around doing like gorilla stuff, just jumping up and down, beating his fist on the ground. And I was terrified, and I was backing away. And there was something, grunts and groans and stuff going back and forth between them, and a lot of body gestures and body language, I mean. And what I perceived, and this may not be the right thing, but Scooter was like telling him, no, leave him alone, go back, get away, because he's a big boy. And this white one was so mad that he didn't know. It was like, I don't know, I've never seen a display like it for my life. I was scared to death, and I didn't go back over it for a while. He bit a tree and was like, and this ungodly growl, roar thing, and I mean, just, he wanted me. And I think the only thing that saved me was Scooter being there, standing up, you know, with his arms down to his sides, going blah at him and stuff like that. You know, the only way I can explain it is like when King Kong in that Skull Island movie, the way he just looks at them people, it's like, hey, because they got so much emotion in their face. And I believe that's where the people get the mind speak from and stuff like this. These things are so animated with their face. When they look, they convey so much.
Yeah. Like if they knew how to play cards, they would be the worst poker players on earth.
You'd see them with sunglasses out at that thing all the time, with that World Championship poker. I could see Scooter sitting there with them sunglasses on like that one guy done, just winning it year after year after year. You know, and he's a hard one to read, that one there. What's he got there, Trip? Well, looks like he's got a full house. But, you know,
I know what you're saying. That's what I've been wondering for a long time now, because I've heard other people tell me that have had a chance to observe their faces for more than a few seconds. And it was the same thing with the two times that I've seen faces too. I mean, it was like really obvious what was going on there. When it grinned, it was not a pleasant, hi there, I'm your friend type grin. You know, when the other one gave me that frown, man, that was like the stink eye from hell. You could really tell right away what they were thinking.
Bob. There's no, because I don't know what they are. I don't claim to know what they are. I think there's more to them than what we think. And I think there's a lot more to them. That's why the government won't say a word about them. There's a lot of things hitting on a whole lot of levels that I can't even comprehend. I don't know why.
Let me get you back onto the story about this family here for a second now.
Okay.
So the father or the husband died. How long ago did he go?
No, the mother. She's been gone about 10 years.
No. I'm not talking about the mama Bigfoot. I'm talking about the husband of the lady that lives there.
Oh, the husband? He's been dead for 5.5 years.
Okay, so quite a while. Did she say there's been any change in their behavior since he passed?
they noticed, from what I understand, she come home one day, and they left flowers and stuff, and just all kinds of weird stuff, like antlers and other things, out by the edge of the woods for her. So they knew something was up. I don't know. And this is like a week after he died. Yeah, very interesting. But he died at home. He'd had Alzheimer's and stuff like that. And the ambulance come and took him out, and you know how they do that.
So they saw the unusual vehicle there, and then they never saw him again, and they put two and two together and went.
I guess. I don't know. I hate that.
Well, they're smart enough to figure that out.
They're smarter, and let me tell you something. These things are very. That's why there's more to them than what. Look, I would never go out in the woods and wood knock, clack rocks together, hoop, do any of that stuff. Anytime I've done that, it brings a bad result to me.
Yeah, if you could simulate it, they think it's another Bigfoot, and they come to investigate, and you
right.
find some damn human there has been pulling their leg and tricking them, and that doesn't make them very happy, and they don't have long patience to start with.
No, and I'll kill this little jerk here just as quick as I can and end his little reign of fun. No,
Yeah, imagine if you accidentally called in like that white one in the troop. You happened to be the person in the woods that was nearest to him, and he came wandering in there and was expecting to see a Bigfoot to contest the area with, and there's some dumbass human. What do you think he'd do? Nobody'd see you again, ever.
Nope. And I'll tell you what, I go over there a couple days a week and set. If I get an ideal that guy is around, there's him and this Auburn one. And I get a feel in the third round, I'll get my butt out of there. It's over with. I don't care if Scooter wants to, if he wants to interact with me or not. I mean, I say it to him. I talk to him and stuff like that, just as I do you. Whether he knows what I'm saying, sometimes I think he does. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go. I don't feel right with these guys being here and stuff like that. And you just get, I'm telling you, I don't want to lose my life. I've had enough trouble over this stuff. I turned into a raging drunk on account of it. Your last show, I like what one guy put on one of the quotes, sounds like guys on a glue bender. I cracked up. And
no, it was just on an expensive booze bender.
Yeah. Very expensive booze bender. I was getting drunk all the time to black out and stuff like that, where people think this is awesome to see one of them things. I'm going to tell you what, like I've told you before, I'm out there, I know I'm getting ready to have an encounter with, like, Scooter, and every time I see him, I just about pee on myself because I don't know if I'm prepared. I don't know what it is, but you still get freaked out because of the size of these things. It's not the height. 7 foot tall. We've seen 7 foot tall people before. It is just the mass of these damn things. You are not prepared to see. And plus, when you see their face, it's...
Yeah, in point of fact, if you're looking at one that's like 6 foot tall, he's probably got 100 pounds on even what we would consider to be a husky, massively built human, and then scale it up from there.
And these guys are up and out of trees. They're, I think we underestimate their weight anyway.
Oh, weight. Yeah, that's one of my pet peeves on everybody is like they're always getting the overestimating the height and underestimating the weight. I've seen this one that must have been, I've seen one that was 9 feet tall. He must have been all of 500 pounds. If he was 500 pounds, he was a beanpole. You could use him for getting golf balls out of the sewer, dude. That's what you're talking about.
The ones I've seen, like I said, Scooter's a big freaking boy. I bet he weighs 1,500 pounds. If he weighs an ounce, he's got a butt indentation. They'll squat. They won't take, even sleeping. I don't want to get into too much of this. I don't want people out in the woods going and doing stuff. But anyway, they will not take. Their feet feel so much vibration. You can tell. They keep the bottoms of them feet right on the ground at all times. And they squat. They squat all the time. And when they lay down on their stomachs, they sleep with their hands to their side. They'll bend that foot forward to where the toes and the heel are touching the ground. Like that metatarsal break, that thing will bend. and they'll have their that like that when they're taking a nap. They're not going to bring them feet up off the ground because that's how that vibration of anything coming around them, it's just right to them. They're like a
seismograph. Those nice rubbery Ostman pads on the bottom of their feet, named after Albert Ostman, that was taken by them and gave a nice, clear description of them decades before anybody got any notion that they actually. Exactly. But here's the interesting point now. Elephants have pads on the bottom of their feet like that, too. That's what I was going to say. They look just like elephants. And elephants also communicate by infrasound over long distances, and that may be part of how they're picking up the vibration.
They do it for 10, I might be over-exaggerating, I don't know. I've read a few things. It says elephants can communicate over 10 miles plus with infrasound because the way the bottoms of their pads, their feet are.
Yep.
And if you believe in these animals, they got to have some other elements of other animals on this planet that we can't even begin to comprehend or go in. You know, like a platypus. It's got a duck's bill, but it ain't no damn duck. You know,
and the first time they captured one and sent it back to the home office, everybody looked at it and laughed and went, "Ha ha, that's a taxidermy job. That's not real." Yes, it is.
Yeah, because they're so strange looking, actually. And the way their hands are, everybody thinks their hands are going to be like ours. Their thumb is back quite a bit, and they're different. And they can, I bet Scooter could probably hold 2 12-ounce glasses of water in the palm of his hand if he was to pour it in. It's just how deep they can cup their hands or whatever. And he's the only one I've ever gotten close to. The rest of them, there's a couple females over there, and when they come out, I know it's time to go, and there's some juveniles over there. When they come out, I get nervous because I'm afraid. I've never seen an alpha male. I don't even know who that is or what. I caught a glimpse of something I thought one time. These things are so stealthy. They'll put moss in their fur, and they'll put leaves in their fur. It's like camo. They'll do stuff to
if they quit moving, they just look like a mound of earth.
Right.
And this has a lot to do with the legends of the trolls and stuff, too, where they always mentioned, the trolls must live underground because they've got, like roots and dirt and leaves and all this kind of stuff in their hair. Or maybe they're putting it there on purpose.
They're putting it there, I believe, on purpose, because some of the stuff I've seen, I think it's on purpose.
That's the same thing that snipers do when they've got a ghillie suit or something. They'll grab all of the pieces of the local terrain, little twigs, little branches, local leaves, stuff like that, and they'll tie it into these little burlap strips that are hanging off their ghillie suit and make themselves look just like a piece of the local terrain.
No, but that makes great sense. I mean, why wouldn't anybody do that? I mean, the whole idea is hiding, camouflage. So. Yeah,
it's like they got a built-in ghillie suit. Their whole body is covered with hair long enough to tie this stuff into it and make themselves camouflaged.
We hardly ever see them. And I'll tell you what, I was sitting there one time looking into the woods, and all of a sudden, it's like this thing moves, and right there it is. I'm like, holy, I didn't even know he was sitting there. Did you walk past one sitting in a like a bush, and you're like, well, that's an odd-looking rock or something like that?
Yeah. And you realize it's not a rock.
Yeah, you turn and look and you see the face is like grimacing.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
Like that stump that gave me the dirty grimace. That wasn't a stump.
Right, and I mean, it's just amazing how they can hide. Any one of our SEAL team or whatever would, man, they'd love to be this stealthy and cool. But anyway.
Yeah, no shit. Those are the experts there. Well, hey, before we get to that, you just touched on it, and I'd like to bring it up because I want to hear your version of it, and it's kind of a hilarious story. Here's a good example of how easy it is for them to sneak up on you. I was mentioning to Kat the story about when you were sleeping in the car, and you had to get up and take a whiz.
What I was going to, yeah.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and tell that one?
Yeah, at first I didn't feel comfortable staying at Sally's house and sleeping in the house with her. She'd say, just come on in here and lay down, honey. And I felt that because she would go to all this trouble. She'd make me a pallet on the couch or make me go get in this bed and stuff like that. And I'm okay. I'm just going to crash in my car. Well, I'd done that, and like between 11:30 and 12, well, starting about 11:30, the interaction with them will quit because they'll go hunting and they'll come back around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, be ready to play again. And days I didn't have to work, I would go over there and stay all night. Well, one night, man, like I said, I used to drink all the time, and I was drinking. I had that wicked, I woke right up, and I was walking in the woods and had to take a whizzer, standing there whizzing, you know, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm thinking it's these orbs. These lights keep going back and forth and vanishing from my sight, and I'm leaning around going, what in the heck is that, you know? What is that? And I'm whizzing. And so, you know, I listened to all your guys' shows, so I thought I'm going to get my light on and interact with these, see what it really happens. Well, I clicked my light on. I put it down on the ground and click it on. Well, there's these two great big freaking feet, and I just ease it up. And there, that son of a gun is standing. I bet he is standing within 4 feet of me. And it's some, I don't know if he's, the swaying's knocking the light out of the way, whatever he's doing. And there he is, man. I stumbled back, piss all over myself, and it just kept going. And I'm surprised I really didn't take a crap on myself. But anyway, I'm just like...
God. Yeah, I would probably do the same thing.
I'm just, sweet Jesus, Lord, get me out of here, start praying. I don't mean no trouble to nobody. Will you please not kill me and stuff like that? And I'm on my back, man, elbows and stuff like that. Get up and start scooting back. That's the first time I was up close to Scooter. And I just, when I finally could get to where I could stand up, when I noticed he wasn't going to come at me no more, I was like, put my hands up and stuff like that and put the light away. I was like, please, I don't mean no harm. Just let me, I'm going back to my car. Well, I went back to my car, got in it, and drove home. Come home, took a shower, threw them clothes in the laundry, and said, Val, we got to wash them tonight. They're covered in piss. She's like, what happened? Don't want to talk about it right now. I'm still a little freaked out.
Saw something a little scary, nothing to worry about. Talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll tell you in a week or two once I calm down. But no, it was just weird because I got a friend named Eddie Moreland. He's always like, you know, point your light down, turn it on at the ground first. Because I don't know nothing about this stuff, man. I don't. I'm not a hunter. I'm not one of them guys. Like, you know that. I've told you 100 times.
Well, it's good advice. It stops you from, like, accidentally blinding them, which potentially could make them unhappy.
Get me eaten. But I point it down at the ground, and I start putting it forward, and all of a sudden you see these real nasty toenails, which at first you're like, what in God's name is brown seashells doing right there?
Brown seashells. I just, you know, every time I think about this, I'm just wondering what Scooter's running through his mind while he's standing there watching you. And then
he's probably thinking, my poor little buddy. Look at that little fella. Piss all over himself. What is wrong with these humans? Yeah. Are they retarded?
Humans are screwy.
Yeah. Screwy rabbit. Yeah, but no, that was, I mean, he had nothing between us. And what kept knocking the lights out was him swaying back and forth. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The sway they do?
Yeah.
But, and I'm like, what is them lights? And all of a sudden they disappear, and all of a sudden they'd be back. Of course they're going to disappear. You got 4.5 feet of girth knocking them out. I still don't know what the lights were. Anyway, I had bigger problems to deal with. And,
much bigger and much closer, yeah. I'll worry about those lights off in the woods later. I got a 9-foot Bigfoot standing right here.
I'll tell you what. And I feel so stupid about that, and everybody's always asking me, why don't you take pictures of them? For one, they don't want their picture taken. Okay? I can go out there with a device or anything, and they will never show up. When I go out there with nothing, that's when you get some interaction. You cannot, I don't know if they know this is a camera or not, but anything you point in their direction or anything like that, they see as a threat. I mean, they've had spears a long time ago thrown at them. They've been shot at by guns, all kinds of stuff. So, and
they can't be exactly sure by which gadget we've got in our hands what it does exactly. And they're not getting like TV shows to watch, unless they're watching you through the window. And they're not getting the best of information on what's actually going on with humans and what the latest weapons look like. So potentially anything we got in our hand that could be like metal or plastic or something might potentially be a weapon the way they're looking at it. And Rich also has an interesting theory that they may have the ability to sense electromagnetic fields at a short range, and that would be able to tip them off to it too. Because the last show we did, we had a picture for the thumbnail of it that was taken in 1895 in Grand Cavern, Virginia, by a guy who was using the old box wooden-style camera, had no electronic stuff on it, and they came right on up and got their picture taken.
Something I always say, they have to feel this because it's getting EMPs shot to it, right? Towers hitting our phones and something like that. But remember when we was in school, me and you, this is a long time ago, like in grade school, you'd be walking down the hallway, middle school, high school, you could tell what room had a TV. If they was doing like an AV production in that room, you could feel that TV. You remember that? You could feel the TV was in there. You didn't even have to know. Yep. And this is back in the day, and I mean, it was the old tube, well, probably not, but you could feel I don't know what it is, and I've always said that, surely God, they can feel whatever device. They're out in the woods. They never come, they're on the edge of civilization.
They're about as far away as you can be from these intrusive electromagnetic fields that we make around ourselves all over the place.
That we can no longer feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All the time. Yeah.
We've anesthetized ourselves to the point where, it's not like back when we was in school walking down the hallway and all of a sudden you're like, them guys got TV in it. You could feel it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I've asked other people this. I said, remember when you was a kid, you'd be walking down the hallway and you could tell if there was a TV in that room or something like that because you could feel that weird whatever? And they're like, yeah. I said, that's what Sasquatch has to be feeling. Anytime we go out in the woods with cameras or any of that stuff. And I'll tell you what, there's this guy named Greg Yoist who gets a lot of encounters. The reason he does is because he goes into the woods with no technology. He don't believe in it. He's took pictures of them, but this a long time ago, and he done it in a slick way. But anyway, he don't take none of that stuff. And this guy, man, he can't go out in the woods without one of them shadowing him or messing with him. Or this dude, he gets a lot of action.
Yeah, he had some very interesting pictures of a juvenile Sasquatch on Brent Sawn's show recently. If any of y'all out there missed that one, go check it out. Good shots and little squats like following him around.
Well, them's old. He's had those for quite a few years, and he quit. He's quit going out trying to do that. He don't cast. I don't either. It don't matter what evidence I got. Nobody's going to believe it, and somebody's going to shut it down anyway.
Speaking of getting shut down, do you want to get into a little legal issue that you ran into there now that we can talk about it?
Sure. All right. One of the nights I got to run in my mouth, telling a bunch of people I know on the phone and all kinds of stuff about what was going on over at this property. And like I said, I used to sleep in my car. One night, I'm on private property. I'm up by her house in her driveway, and there's about a quarter of a mile to the road.
And you got her permission, and she knows you, and you've been there many times. Many times.
She's like my mom in some ways. I mean, I love her, and she loves me. But anyway, all of a sudden my door gets swung open. I get tased, and a fight ensues and all this stuff, and I go to jail. Well, I go to jail, and they have no good reason for having me in jail, saying that I was drunk on a side road and somebody been around there robbing houses. So, and I fit the description. Well, yeah, they wouldn't let me bond out of jail. My bond would keep changing, and nobody could get me out. I was in there, 2 weeks?
Yeah, you were in there for quite a while, a lot longer than you should have been.
Right,
for suspicion of something they had no evidence of.
Right. And I had battery on police and all these other charges. I sent you the report. You've seen it all.
Mm-hmm.
And which a lot of it's lies. They said they picked me up on a side road or something like that. Well, I think it has something to do with this. Whether people think I'm full of
didn't the lady at the house didn't she get up and see them come in and yell at him and the whole thing?
She was yelling at him. There's so much of this.
And so they're lying and saying that they picked you up on some side road somewhere, yet you've got the homeowner where they picked you up testifying that they're lying.
Right. And she went to court with me. She said they pulled him out of my driveway. The boy was right up against my house. And she testified and stuff like that. They threw it out.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing come of it, but they was wanting to give me some time. They was acting like that. Where me and the cops started fighting because I didn't know what was going on, man. They just yanked the door open and tased me. What's within?
Yeah, and you're out there by yourself sleeping in a car in an area where you know there's Bigfoot, and one could potentially yank the car door open and grab you. So what's your first reaction going to be? Just sit there and be helpless?
And that's what happened, and it was just bad. It was bad, and I was scared to death. And like I told you, I sent you all the documentation of it, and 90% of it's false.
Yep.
And I had people coming to court with me telling the truth about it, and they threw it out, and I told them what I was out there for, and I had to pay a lot of money for an attorney that would go in there that with all the proof. I mean, it was bad.
Well, they tried to get you for stealing, and they tried to press charges on you for assaulting the cops who assaulted you, correct?
Right, exactly. I've never stolen nothing in my life. When I go to meet my maker, he says, you're a lot of things, but you ain't a thief. I guarantee you. I've never stolen nothing. I'll give anybody anything I got. But anyway.
You don't need to steal anything anyway. You got enough money to survive easily.
I'll do okay. But they had all these bogus charges on me. Trespassing, just a whole bunch. And the longer this went on, the more they'd try to bring up. And they got very conflicting statements from the police officers and stuff like that. It's just, as it went on, you could just see how wrong they were. And Sally come and told him, said, this boy, and see, I stay in her house now. I'm not staying out in my car no more. Next time they want me, they're going to have to come in the house, and she'll probably put one in him. She's an old, rough old girl, you know what I mean? She ain't scared of nothing.
Yeah.
She's raised Sasquatch, so she's a tough old bird, but...
Yeah, they show up and try and start some hell with her. God help them, because there's a troop of Sasquatch there that might decide to get involved.
I tell you what, man, I believe if somebody did come in the house and we started screaming carrying on, I know at least two that would probably tear that house apart to get in there and get a hold of them.
Yep.
I know.
Yeah, one of them that remembers being fed apples when it was a baby.
Yeah, that's right. Scooter loves her, and you can see him look at her. Until you get to... Here's the bottom line, and I mean this. Leave these things alone. Don't go hunting for them. They're there. Our government is covering them up. I have no idea why. Everybody's got their theories. I'm not even going to pretend that I got one. Just leave these things alone, because more of them's apt to grab a hold of you and hurt you than they are to let you walk away. Even though every encounter story we hear, the guy just got away. A lot of them just don't want to be messed with. Don't go after these things. I've been lucky. I got one, I think, that finds sympathy in me.
Right on. I'd like to interject at this point. The reason that you don't hear the stories about the really super aggressive attacks, those people don't survive, folks. They don't come back to tell those stories. If one of these things decides to attack you, you are not going to be coming back.
I don't know.
No, they just squash you like a bug. And I mean, seriously, the vast majority of them are very calm. I mean, they got short patience if you screw with them, but they'll stay away from humans. They're not interested in attacking you. They're not bloodthirsty monsters. They're just like people are. They all have different personalities. But, you know, even a good-natured one can be having a bad day, and if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, he can decide that he's going to swat you like a ball just because he's not having a good day. So don't take chances.
I've been sitting there with Scooter, and I've been trying to just figure out language and all that stuff. And I mean, he's a distance. I hope these people don't think that I'm standing there holding his freaking hand. I can get close.
Well, how far do you get from him? How close does he let you get?
I get close. I've been really close. I've actually touched him, and that's all I want to say about that, because people's going to think I'm crazy. And when I touched him, it felt like electricity all through my body. I don't know if it was just me. He put his hand out when he was pointing at something, and I just reached up, and I hate telling that, because half the people out there don't believe in these, and the other half that has seen them has had that experience with them, that it's like there's no way this can happen.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it.
No. There's plenty of people out there. There's plenty of people that are seeing Bigfoot. So you got to understand that there's occasionally going to be people that will actually interact with them. And, you know, sometimes little squatchlets will play with little humans because they don't know any better. That's what happened with Kat. A little squatchlet, she just wandered up on it in the woods and started playing with it. Next thing you know, an adult showed up. Put a real swift halt to that. But that was her introduction to Bigfoot. Scared the living hell out of her. And again, it was the same thing. Little innocent squatchlet didn't know it wasn't supposed to be playing with humans. Sees a little, you know, human, same size as it. Oh, okay, that's fine.
I've been over at this one house for how long, you think? 9 months? 10 months? I mean, I've been telling you about it since I've been going over there and stuff, right? So it's been a
better
while.
Part of a year, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and it's took, you know, a lot to get to where I'm at. I mean, I'll go and set and just whittle, like I told you. And he'll start easing up and easing up. And, you know, and forever, everything, they keep everything between me and them to where they're like shadows. But you can tell. I mean, their heads pop out every once in a while, and it'd be out of your peripheral vision. And pretty soon he stopped doing that to where he just come and sit down. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, man, God, don't kill me, you know, oh, Lord. And I'd be going.
I suppose he was like, well, you know, I'm here anyway. I want to see what you're whittling.
I'm whittling the stick to jam right through my head. Thank you. But that's the only one. Let me tell you something else. I went out with a couple different guys. I went out with a couple guys from Ohio. They want to go see the spot that me and Greg Yoyce go to. And it's I'm telling you, you're going to have action there every time you go. All you got to do is just camp there and be cool and sit down and hush. Do your thing. Don't go outside your camp. You got to be a little bit in the woods. They'll come around and they'll start jacking around with you. Me and a couple guys go out and do that. Well, I get two other guys that want to go do this. One from Michigan and a guy from Illinois. The guy from Michigan says, I'm heading that way. Let me pick you up, and we'll all meet down there. Against my better judgment, I let him pick me up. I drive all the way down 2 hours away from my house to this one spot. Now, the spot that I go to over at Sally's ain't but 8 miles away.
Right.
And but I go on down there because I can't take nobody over. I don't want nobody going over.
I wouldn't take anybody there.
Well, I mean, like I told you and Wes, you guys, if you ever want to go over there, it'd take, you'd have to stay for a week or two, and it'd be a low and slow.
Yeah, pass.
Well, you don't want to see him anymore anyway. You're good.
No, I've seen him enough types. You know, what do you think they are? What do you got there? Type 1s?
Yeah, I don't know.
They got the human-looking nose on them that either looks like a long, straight Indian nose or a squashed Aborigine type looking nose. Them are the type 1s.
That's the thing. They all look so friggin' different.
Yeah.
Even within
so do humans.
Yeah, exactly. Even brothers and sisters, you can't tell them. I mean, you can tell them when they're young they look alike and this and stuff like that, and then at a certain age we all start looking our own way. And that's the way these are. And the white one looks, I guess because he scares me the most, he looks more animal. But
you know, according to Kat, just because they're all in a troop right now doesn't mean they'll start it out there either. Because they'll sometimes take in, you know, ones that are wandering around by themselves, or their whole rest of their troop got wiped out or something. They're the only one left, and they'll find another troop to join up with. They don't like being solitary. except Wendigos. They don't care. They don't need help.
Huh. Learn something new every day. And maybe that's why it's like the white one that I'm really scared of. That one just, I have bad dreams about him and everything else.
Yeah, it sounds like he's kind of got it in for you. I wouldn't get too far from where Scooter is there when you're hanging out with him. Stay near Scooter.
If I go out there and I get the feeling that he's even around, but I'm leaving. I'm serious, because he scares me to death. And he's like an 8-footer, but
well, you've seen his face and stuff. Does it look the same as Scooter's face? Has he got same skin color? Because he's got different hair color.
Well, yeah, they both got that grayish type skin. But the thing that gets me is, I don't know if it's fear that makes me think he's more animalistic looking. Their jawbone, I mean, their jawbone structure is the same. So is their cheekbone. His brow ridge seems to be a little heavier on him. He just seems more animal than Scooter.
More toward the animal side, and Scooter's a little bit more toward the human side sort of thing.
Well, I've tried to sit around and think about that, and it might be because I'm scared of him that, I'm going to relate him more to that. You know what I mean?
Oh, that could be too.
So I don't know. I have no idea. And I've thought about it, and I've thought about it, and thought about it. But he scares shit out of me. The Auburn one looks definitely Neanderthal that I see. So does Scooter. Scooter looks really Neanderthal.
Mm-hmm.
And with Down syndrome, which they all got that messed up looking face. There's no way one of these things are ugly.
I think a lot of what people are mistaking that for is just the proportion. Their face and proportion different than a human is. Like they have different distance between the nose and the upper lip, and et cetera, et cetera.
Like I told you before, we can stick a finger between our nose and lip or whatever. You can stick the four of their fingers between their nose and lip. That's how different of a distance it is. Their shape is totally different than us.
Mm-hmm.
But on the same hand, there's certain things about them. When you look at their face, it looks almost, I don't know. I don't know what they are. I don't pretend to. I don't know nothing about these things. I don't pretend to. I know that they're dangerous. And even seeing Scooter still gets me so scared sometimes I got to leave. And I don't think he would hurt me. I don't think he would. But I know that white one, given any chance, he'd kill me dead. Man, like I said, I seen him bite a tree. That scared me to death. I mean, he was so enraged. He was just going nuts, tearing stuff down, shaking big trees.
Well, let's hope Scooter stays strong and capable, because if something happens to him, I'd be afraid of what's going to happen to the old granny out there with that thing around.
A lot of them people talking about window tapping and stuff like that, how they'll come up to the house. They keep their distance. This troop does, and I don't know why.
That's good.
I've told you guys before, it's like sometimes they seem like they want to do something, but something stops them. Like they can't. There's a reason. That there's so much to these things that we can't even begin to understand. And every time I see something, I think I've learned something. The other one will do something totally dismay it. That's probably the wrong choice of words. I'll see another one do something. It's like, nope, that don't happen. But anyway, back to my story about. Sorry, we get.
Well, no, and there's other things that you've noticed here too. And I get this from other researchers too, where it's like, well, I've seen them doing this. So-and-so says they do this. Well, and that's a good example. My roommate can do a really incredibly loud, and I mean loud enough to like scare dogs that are barking at him, wood knock with his mouth. And, all I got to say is if Bigfoot figures out how to do this, they don't need a piece of wood. They can make a wood knock so loud that it's going to sound like a baseball bat hitting a telephone pole every time, because he can almost do that. And he's only like a 5.5-foot guy.
He's about like my size.
Mm-hmm.
A little tiny guy.
It's like it will actually stun you. If you're like standing next to him and he does that as loud as he can, it hurts your ear.
imagine seeing one of these guys do it, and it just blew me away. They do it with they may do it with a tree and a stick, okay? I'm not totally excluding that. I'm just telling you what I saw at one time, like I told you that one time. Yeah. I sent you a text or something like that. Hey, man, this one would knocked with his mouth or his body because it was like boom, down inside of him. His lips didn't, it was boom, and it was like, and it sounded like a guy taking a Louisville slugger and hitting a tree just as. Yep. And he had nothing in his hands, but he's standing there, but his mouth didn't open all the way up.
Yeah. Well, when El Tucky does it, he opens his mouth like part way, and that's it.
Why would he get the volume?
He's doing the whole thing inside of his mouth. It doesn't have anything to do with his lips.
It sounds like this is my best guess, okay? And I hope nobody thinks that I know anything because I've repeatedly said this.
Hey, you're just telling us what you've observed, and that's the best kind of data that we can get.
You could tell he'd done it with his throat. It almost looked like it swelled up like a bullfrog. And that's the only way I know how to do it. It looked like it swelled up and whack. And that come through it was deafening and shook everything around him. And
now, did you also say that you heard one you actually saw one do a wood knock with its foot?
Oh, yeah, the one that kicked the tree that one time.
Yep.
He hit it a certain way, and it sounded just like that. That was down there where Greg Yoyce goes, right? Yeah, that I seen that one. These guys that I took down there, the ones from Michigan and Illinois, I thought, I had a good experience with these first two guys I took out. Why wouldn't I have another one, man? I made some new friends and stuff like that. I'm a friendly guy, you know that. Well, these guys left me 2 hours away from my house with no way to get home in the middle of the night. And if anybody knows anything about these things, when you're by yourself, they get even more bold and brazen to where they will just come right out of the clearing and stare at you. It's one of the worst nights I ever had.
I bet.
Anyway, these two guys are in a tent, and I sleep in a hammock. I've always said a tent's a trash bag for them to carry you off in. I relate that to the Albert Osterman story. And many others since then. You know, they're going to get me. They're going to work at it. But they'll fold me up in a little tin hammock and rip at it loose or something. But I was sleeping in my hammock, and it felt like a catcher's mitt. And I told these guys what was going to happen. This is down in the Greg Yoyce area. He has no reason to lie to anybody. I think the reason the Sasquatch comes to him because he's like 6'9" and looks just like one, covered in friggin' hair.
He's got the big long beard and everything too. They probably go, scrawny Sasquatch. Yeah, he's one of us, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just a scrawny Sasquatch. And you hear him talk, he sounds like one. Well, I was standing there watching one, and they're probably thinking that's our lingo. Except, what language is he speaking? They're trying to figure out what Beanpole Squatch is talking about. And they call him Squatch Man also. But anyway, I'm down in that area right there, and I'm telling you, it's a pretty good area to go to. But all of a sudden, I'm in my hammock, and I swear on my life, it felt like a catcher's glove hit me, and I done swung me all the way around in my hammock. I jump up out of it. I got one leg hung up in there, and I'm flapping this tent. These two guys are sleeping. I'm like, guys, they're back. Guys, they're back. And I get my foot undone. And I unzip that tent. And they're gone. Oh, my God. And I thought maybe these guys wandered off and these things grabbed them. That's what I started thinking first because, listen, I've had some good interactions with these things, but, there's a reason there's a book called 411 or whatever they call it. Some stuff doesn't go right. And that's probably another reason for the government keeping it away from us is because a lot of people's been snatched up by these things. Yep. I don't know if it's the type 1s or whoever it is doing it, but something's happened to people out in these places. Well, anyway, that's going through my head. Well, I got these things running, and have you ever seen the Todd standing where he's holding the floor? He goes, get out of here. What do you want? I wasn't doing that. You can hear it. You can hear the damn thing on the camera growling at them. They are running through our camp like that, or the camp like that. And I am sitting by the campfire scared to death. They're within 6 feet. One of them runs within 6 feet of me, and I'm telling you what, dude, I'm terrified. And the only thing I can keep thinking of is that Todd Standing thing where he's holding that flare, screaming, yeah, get out of here. That same type of thing happened to me. And one setback, yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. It was one of the worst nights of my life because you never knew what was going to happen next. And I've heard all the stories where they come in and like Dallas, they turned his head and threw him up on his shoulder, and he fired and burnt that one's back up and stuff like that and lived.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. And
yeah. Yeah, it tried to kill him, though. I mean, it sincerely did. It grabbed him, tried to do the neck break on him, threw him over his shoulder, thought he was dead. He came to, pulled his 44, pushed it up against it, and gave it a shot, and it dropped him and took off.
Supposedly he caught its back on fire because of the way it came out. He don't know if he hit anything solid. He just shot down its back. And what's his partner's name? But he wouldn't, because couldn't you imagine after getting your head twisted around and packed off by one? I wouldn't have went back in the woods. That's the
no, well, I heard he had kind of a bad case of the heebie-jeebies after that, where it was like he always thought Bigfoot was around even when he wasn't around.
Right.
He came in pictures where he actually wasn't and stuff. And, you know, because the damn thing tried to kill you, and they're so sneaky at that point, I don't see how you can go in the woods again.
Wayne's his partner's name. Anyway, he just sent all this crap to Bubba Gump. Probably one of the smartest guys out there when it comes to just Bubba Gump's a genius. But anyway.
Yeah, shout out to Bubba Gump. Hey, Bubba G. How you doing, buddy?
Kidding. Anyway, he's the one that found the dog man in that picture that you always hear the outlaws talk about. Bubba Gump, Dallas is the one that took the picture. But like Bubba and Kumbo's always said, after that he had heebie-jeebies, Bigfoots everywhere, snap, 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 take 100 pictures, and he's finding pareidolia and, you know, and stuff. And so they're like, that's a rock, bud. But I can understand why. I'm telling you what, I can understand why. Because I can't go hiking no more. And this is the truth. I'm only 50 years old, and I've always been in good shape. And I've had a heart attack in the last year, 2 stents, and this is a month ago, 2 stents put in, and my cholesterol's not high. They think it's all due to stress. This stuff ain't nothing. You get out here and start seeing this shit, and you can stuff.
So again, see, this, folks, is why I do not advocate you go out and find Bigfoot. Duke does not have Project Go and See. Duke has Project Sit Home and Do Research. And then after you have lots of information,
we need more
armchair it, baby, because we need more archivists anyway. No, but the fact of the matter is that this information is getting out there. You just need to look for it. And once you've found enough that you think you're comfortable, that you have like kind of a good picture on what's actually going on, you can make an informed decision on if you want to go looking for these things or not. And generally, I think that you shouldn't. I don't understand why you want to prove this to yourself that they exist or something. You're just asking for a lot of trouble. And take it from Taylor right here. Perfect example. He didn't ask to see him. He just went off on a lark like, hey, let's go where the Bigfoot Outlaws guys say that the monsters are at, and ha, 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 this will be fun. And then you see monsters. And then you get sucked up into the whole thing. Holy bleep, these things are real. I need to find out more about them. Yeah. And, so then you get up your courage and you go look back into it again, and you start finding out more and more and more. And then it becomes like this all-consuming thing. And it gets really, really bad for your health and your life, because these things are potentially dangerous. Dealing with them is potentially dangerous. Being in the woods where they are is potentially dangerous. And the ramifications of certain people not wanting you to talk about them is potentially dangerous. And all of that, plus, there's the attached paranormal creatures to worry about also that could go along with this whole thing. So, really, it's just like really, really dangerous. This isn't, let's go for a lark in the park and see a black bear. This is a different thing.
I don't know if it's courage you got me. It ain't courage. Because I'll tell you what, guys, I'm just like Barney Fife. I'm the shakiest gun in the West. Ghost of Mr. Chicken is me. I am a chicken.
But you keep going back, and I keep telling you not to, but you keep doing it.
I've slacked off. It's like AA,
How many times have I told you to knock it off and quit go looking for Bigfoot now?
Yeah, especially like your laundry bill can't handle it. You're doing your chores how many times a week?
even if you got the money for the laundry bill, it's bad for your health, in one way or another. And like you were saying earlier, and Kat mentioned this too, she's been interacting with this one troop for decades. And it's still, every time she knows that she's going to be interacting with them, it scares the hell out of her.
When you see one, I mean, even if you're going there with a mindset, I'm going to see one, and you see them, and this one will come, Scooter will come to where I'm at, I just yell his name, and you'll start hearing the footfalls. He don't even try to hide them. And then the first time I see him, every time, or catch a glimpse of him, it's like, oh my God, same thing every time.
And according to her, you never get used to it,
No.
That's why I don't want to go out and see him anymore. It's like, no, I'll just gather that secondary peripheral information from tree structures and tracks and stuff like that. And I'll collect the sounds that they make and stuff, and I really don't want to see them anymore. Because it's like, the older you get, the more precarious your heart is, and heart attacks being what they are.
I had 97% blockage in one, 75% in the other. I mean,
good Lord.
Yeah. Them things are stopped up. I've seen toilets. It wasn't that bad,
Wow.
But
so what they have to do? They put the old roto-rooter in there and aug them out for you.
They put stents in there. No, they put stents in me. But anyway, they do got their own language, and I don't pretend to know any of it. Matter of fact, I was helping Kat at the end of the last show you had with her. He was like, so tell us some of that. And you and her go sideways on us, and she's getting I'm like, just one word is all I need to know is like, what's up, friend? Because I've smacked the side of a tree, and I said, tree. And all of a sudden I'll hear, blah, 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 or something like that. They have their own language. They're very intelligent. They're extremely dangerous. Like I've been saying, there's one out of all these others that will even come up and allow me to be in its presence. I don't know how to explain this to you. They don't want nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
They're an odd creature.
They have some good reason for thinking they shouldn't interact with us, and we have explored various ideas why this could be. And if you look at the mythology, no, not just that, but like even from a scientific standpoint, the contagion theory, which is happening in Europe and in North America, they're obviously going to be able to catch the same diseases that we get, and all of a sudden every human they get near, they're getting a disease and dying from it. Well, that's going to make you want to not get near humans. And that might become so ingrained after a nice lengthy period that it's like, I can't even remember why we're not supposed to go around humans for some reason. Okay, whatever.
I'm going to tell you, they treat their young just like we do and all that stuff. Everybody always compares them to bears.
No.
I have no experience with bears except from what I've heard. I've had none.
I've eaten several.